Hello Pisces, and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Together we're going to take a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks, focusing on the month of July. You can always use this reading for your sun, rising, and moon, and we'll look at that a little bit later as well. I like to begin with the channeled messages before we even get into the Celtic Cross. This basically is a psychic download that provides a little bit of wayfinding, a chance for you to figure out what's coming through. And there's a lot of synchronicities when we combine what I get from my guides and what the cards show, so I always like to kind of bring the two together. The main messages that I was receiving in dreams and in meditation this morning were the following. First and foremost, I see a change on the horizon for you. In order to get ready for that change, we have to open your heart, open your mind, and clear the space around you. And that brings us to the first point today, which is taking your time and making sure that you're not making any missteps. It's not always about being first. It's typically a lot better to be prepared, to be satisfied with what you're bringing through, to whether it's a final project or a first date or a meeting, like being there and being prepared and feeling good about it. That's really where I want to get you. What I saw in my dreams were two different modes of transportation that travel at two different speeds. There was a train which was taking its time, which was on track, which wasn't derailed, it was focused. It traveled slower, but everything was in working order. Then I saw a car which was continuing to hit like all of these roadblocks. I even saw it hydroplane. Hydroplaning comes when you're driving so fast through water that you lose control. And it had to double back, and then it lost time basically. So if we were to look at these two lines on a chart, you would see the car got almost to the finish line first, but then had to backtrack, and the train just kept moving nice and slow and got there first because there was some wasted time. And we could just call it like rushing, basically is what it is. Rushing without being mindful of all the sort of details. So in this card, what I featured was the Eight of Pentacles because it's one of the most detail-oriented cards. It reminds you to make sure that all of your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, and that you're really not going to have to go back and fix anything. This is important for so many reasons. One, again, it's quality and it's the first impression. So whenever you have an important meeting or exchange or a delivery of something, when you get it right the first time, you start to create this sense of trust. Trust is so hard. Trust and respect, those things have to be earned. And if you sort of step out of the gate and you miss the mark a little bit, you have to work doubly as hard or triply as hard to reinstate that feeling of security and faith and trust. So today, the first and the most important message is take your time. You will actually finish faster if all things considered when you weigh in the time for revision. It's not accidental that the next card is the Nine of Pentacles. We would see that snail at the bottom, and it really embodies that sense of slow and steady. So enough said with that. Let's move on to the next message, which was the clean slate. And for this one, what I was seeing was lavender. And basically there was a kind of like what you would see in the Ace of Pentacles, an open gate, and there was lavender around it. I chose the Fool, however, because for me it was about clearing and cleaning. And I remembered, because I've used lavender before as a totem, that the root of the Latin word is about clearing or cleaning. And it's all often used for that too. You'll even see it in like Epsom salt baths and soaps, partly because it smells so good. It has that sort of antiseptic quality to it. But what it's really good for is creating this opening as well, which is something that we're trying to do. So it was an open gate, a clearing and cleansing energy, and it's saying if I can enter into something unencumbered by fear, anxiety, or regret, then I can really make this a clean start, a clean slate. And so in addition to maybe using lavender in your meditation for like aromatherapy, it mostly came through as a connection to like your third eye, to keep an open mind and open eye to what the future has for you, and not to carry too much with you. And that's one of the things that I love most about the Fool is they're carrying just what they need in that knapsack. And that's kind of a great way for us to move forward. Also carrying a rose. We see the rose in the death card as well. So it's a new beginning, rebirth. All of these things are great. So clean slate, open mind, new beginning. Use some lavender in your meditation if you'd like. It might actually help you connect with all of this. And finally, I saw change on the horizon in the form of thunderstorms. And it was the cool thing with thunder and lightning. If you can see it in the distance, you know something's happening. So this is basically a couple of notes from Spirit. For some of you, you're already aware of rumblings of change. You get to then get ahead of the change. You can decide, where do I stand? What am I going to do? Can I ride this sort of change out? Or do I need to focus on creating another opening in my life? I saw that open gate, so it could be a different path or a different opportunity for some of you. There is a lightning bolt in the Tower card, which we see here. And so this can be either something that we choose ourselves, like I need to make a change, I'm going to do this, or Spirit comes in and says, I've been waiting for you to make this change. If you won't make it, I'll make things uncomfortable, so you have to do it anyway. So here's the thing. Change is either on the distance and you see it and you're going to do something about it, or you know the change that you need to make, or you've been holding back and Spirit's going to basically push you into making the change. I would say try to embrace where it is in your life that you want to see growth, movement, and a shift, and basically steer the path there so that you get to somehow, way, shape, or form affect it. So I think we covered everything here in the list of things here. The main thing is a tower can be a very cleansing and positive thing. It's just a matter of, feeling like I can do this, and you can do this, folks. All right, let's take a look now at the Celtic Cross. Again, you can use this for any aspect of your chart, including Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to be quiet now while I basically take all the cards and lay them out. There we've got that tower, that change that's coming through. And let's try to help you through it. Nine of Pentacles, slow and steady. Already we've got the synchronicities, a chance to avoid a challenge on the horizon. All right. It's always nice when there are a couple of those affirmations that come through in the cards, so that's part of the reason why I like to start off with channeled messages. Basically, two different forms of divination are better than one sometimes because they can show where the real focal points are. Two, so I'm just going to allow these two to stick together. And let's begin. All right. I always like to begin with the catalyst, and what a very powerful catalyst we have today. So we have the God, which is basically the divine, which is the creative force that we're all connected to. This is also like the Emperor in a traditional deck as well. So what we're connecting to is your ability here to take ownership, to drive the ship, to also plug into the creative source that is kind of like allowing you to do what you do and honor that. So one thing that I like to really bring up now, like this year especially as I'm looking at cards, is forget about success or failure. Let's talk about alignment or being distracted, because those are better terms here. So how aligned are you to your soul path? How creative, empowered, and impassioned do you feel about what you're doing? This is going to connect you to your divinity. This is going to make you unstoppable. And what's kind of cool here is we have a synchronicity here as well. We have the thin veil, then we have Spirit coming through right here. And then we also have surrendering to a power greater than me when we're looking at love. And so for some of you, there might be something that you know that you love, or someone that you know that you love, and you're just going to surrender to that feeling, because love is the currency of the universe. It's the language, it's the frequency, all of that. So that's really where it's all about, what it's all about as well. All right, now we're going to focus specifically on the Celtic Cross. And as I look at the spread here, it's pretty good, folks. At least when we're looking at what's going on around you. And then really what we're trying to do is resolve conflict and get you into a healthier and happier space. So yes, there's some work here, but you're loved. It looks like there's some abundance opening up. It looks like there is an opportunity knocking, and it's just about staying open. So I feel like we can navigate through this. Let's get started with the center cards. a big old synchronicity with your centermost card. We have a tower, which is a lighthouse in this particular deck, a symbol that I really, really love. Back when I first started doing the readings, I used to close with something where I said, all of you are like a lighthouse. Allow your actions, your insight, your energy to be something like a beacon of hope for others. Paraphrased, I used to say something like that. So whenever I see the tower, for some of you, this is a chance to get back to that, or to find a place where you feel like there is more of a guiding light, more of something that brings you a sense of that you want to be there, that you feel like you're part of something. So a tower reversed is auspicious because you get to affect the outcome. You can always have a little bit of an effect in a tower, like how you're going to embrace change, but you get extra ability in a tower reversed. Sometimes it means that you raise your hand and say, this needs to change, whatever this might be. It could be your job or relationship, it could be a contract in front of you. But there's this knowing internally that you want to make a change, and you bring it to someone's attention. Say, hey, I'd like to talk about this. I have some ideas, I have some questions, and then you set it into motion. So you can be, because this represents divinity, God, the power of the universe, you can also channel that and say, we need to do this. This is for my better good. So emperor energy and then power, and you're going to make a positive change. This is why we shouldn't fear the appearance of the tower. It just is how you embrace it. For instance, you can actually read this as an epiphany or a breakthrough. So something that wasn't clear before becomes really clear now, or you have this sort of idea from seemingly nowhere, and it's this beautiful download where you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I have to do. So it can actually be that kind of aha or eureka moment as well. Now, there could also be people leaving your life or things that are exiting from your life right now, and I see that as a positive. I saw a storm coming. So for some of you, this storm could be an avoidable argument. There may be someone that you're trying to keep in your life and it's just not worth it. They're not ready or willing to accept or receive the love that you have to offer. So for those of you that are on the heels of breakup, maybe you're recovering from an illness, maybe someone's left your life, one way, shape, or form, whether it's divorce, a contract ending, or they've passed into spirit. I can see the pain, I can see the questions of what's next, but what I also see is abundance, opportunity, movement, and eventually this understanding of which path you want to take. So there's a little bit of movement here, but it's necessary. Now, what I can't do is make up your mind, and I'm not going to do that for you, but what I can tell you is that internally you know what to do, you know how to sort this out. I like to view the Two of Swords in an unconventional sort of way, which is that you have two aces. Just like in the Two of Pentacles, you have two choices. What happens with the Two of Swords is sometimes one choice isn't like black and white better than the other one. It's not clear. It's a shade of gray. And so it boils down to what your heart, what your intuition tell you. And so this month, I really want you to focus on that. Heart and third eye. That's why lavender came through too. This will clear it up. It may not make sense on paper, but it will make sense in your gut, in your heart, in your third eye. You'll know how to sort this out. This is also a call to action when it comes to people that are not being clear or not forthcoming. So the Two of Swords can indicate a lack of clarity, a lack of understanding. And so this is where you raise your hand, especially because it's on top of the tower. And you would say, I don't understand this, or I need some more information about this, or I have a question. Curiosity, inquisitive nature, sort of like journalistic integrity, all this stuff coming through here and just saying, I need to get to the bottom of it. And you do, and it will help you out. So if you don't know, ask. If you're not sure, don't assume. Speak up, communicate, open the door to communication as well. And that'll be good. You're clearing the air. That's honestly what the tower does. It takes a foundation or a block in your life that isn't, I would not only say it's not essential, it's not healthy, and it clears it so something better can come through. I love what I see in the deep past. The Lovers, it doesn't matter if it's upright or reverse, is always an auspicious card. It shows me that there is love, there is guidance. It's one of the angelic cards in the deck. So Temperance has an angel and the Lovers has an angel. So does Judgment. So all three of those, when they appear, show that you're being guided. And whenever you're feeling sometimes a little bit nervous in a deck, I wouldn't, or in a spread, this shows that there is Divinity. We actually have a couple cards here, showing divinity. This is the hand of the divine. This is angelic energy. And this is a change. So there's something here that's connected to source, connected to higher purpose. And it's saying, let's fix this. Let's rearrange things a little bit. Okay? For some of you, you're going back to something that you love. This can be an aspect of your life. For some of you, maybe you were a teacher, or maybe you studied art, or maybe you always wanted to do this or this, but friends, family, time, resources got in the way. When I'm looking at this, it's about coming home and this embrace from spirit. And again, that angel. Love could be entering into your life. You could have a rebound sort of energy. Maybe you had signed off. I'm not gonna get into a relationship again, or I'm done making new friends, or I know enough people in my life, and Spirit's coming through and saying, actually, we're gonna shake things up, because this new love can also be this. This can be someone that comes knocking from the past. This is unexpected. It shakes things up. It's a chance to heal. Ten of Swords reversed is the heart and the body and the energy, basically all around you healing. And it's saying, maybe you have a second shot at something. So never underestimate how all of this can shake out. What do you need to do? Hello, synchronicity, slow down. We have the Knight of Swords, one of the fastest moving cards when we're looking at a time marker in tarot, and it's in reverse. This means oftentimes that you need to backtrack and say, before I move forward, let's make sure I take care of this. Let's make sure I answer this question, etc. And before you focus on, being the first to the finish line, remember the sort of analogy of the train. Sometimes it's better to fix things along the way. Get maintenance, change a tire, get your oil changed. But in real life, it would be, take a day off, take care of your mind and your body, take care of your pet or your child or whatever. Make sure that all of your life is in proper working order before you cross the finish line. This is also a highly communicative card, very direct. So whenever we have Page, Knight, Queen, or King reversed, they're not going to spend time spinning their wheels here. So the Knight of Swords in reverse would basically just come in and say what's on their mind and say, this may seem direct, but I need to know, can I count you in or are you out? Or I'm interested in you. Are you interested too? Because I don't have a lot of time to waste on this. So I do like the direct approach. I would say one thing to remember is empathy. There could be people in your life also going through a lot, so always put yourself in someone else's shoes. But I do like that you're willing and ready to take necessary action. You're not afraid to go back and fix something if it needs to be fixed. And all of this is going to bring you the energy that I talked about with the Nine of Pentacles. I hinted at that. I said it's no accident that right after the 8 is the 9. And I love that this illustrator did put one of my favorite features, the snail, on this card. So we see these beautiful grapes behind her that are now coming to fruition. They're ready to be harvested. We have a bird coming through giving divinity and messages from beyond. And then we have the snail saying slow and steady is what got you to this point. In reverse, there's a couple of nuances to this card that we wouldn't always see. One is the feeling to rush. Don't rush. The other one is independence, but sometimes just for the sake of independence. So a reminder, if someone comes in with, and we can see it here, an offer. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see that better. So we have the Page of Pentacles facing towards the Nine of Pentacles. So there could be someone in your life saying, hey, I think I can help you out. Well, they might be bringing that 10th pentacle, which can bring you to the finish line without having to rush. Because there is another way, and that is with help, with assistance. So if somebody's ready, willing, and also someone who's you feel like you could blend with here in business or love, then yeah, go for it. You don't have to do everything on your own. That's one message here with the card reversed. It might be time to open up and accept help or look at what people have to offer for you, all right? If we look at this on a diagonal, there's an interesting message coming through. This is healing. This is rebound energy that wants to happen. The Ten of Wands is a nice rebound from the Ten of Swords, but you have to take care of yourself. So first things first, let's look at the Ten of Swords. It comes through in the near future. It's in the healing position. So when you take a normally low frequency card and reverse it, it's actually high frequency or higher or transmuted. And so now we can focus on the new day that's dawning in the background. We can focus on healing mind, body, and spirit and emotions. And it's auspicious, if you will. What you might still need to do, though, is talk it out. Let's not forget that swords is communication and action. So this is a time where if you've ever thought of talking to a therapist or to a friend or leaning on someone, again, this is independence. This is saying, you know what, I actually could use someone to talk to. So talk to people around you. Lean on that connection around you. We have, 2 of the 4 10 of 10 cards here. So we could ostensibly say the 10 of Cups is within reach as well, or the 10 of Pentacles, because you're getting a lot of that completion energy so far. If you are on a rebound, don't rush things, obviously, especially if it is with love. You want to take it slow and steady. Now what we have coming in for you is a card of value. First and foremost, people are not afraid to come knocking and saying, hey, I need some time, I need your help, or can you stay late, or I'd like you to hang out, or do you want to help me move? Questions and favors and requests, they're incoming. This is also a card that says if you've been waiting a while for a job, for love, for an opportunity, one of the ways to go after it is just to ask. We have a lot of outspoken energy here with the Knight of Swords, willing to go the distance, willing to speak up. We have a lot to love with the lovers in the deep past. And now with the Page of Pentacles here, there's this question for you, which is basically, do you see the value that others do? And are you also willing to maybe put your foot down and say, I can do this, but I can't do this? It's asking for what you need. It's pushing back on things that don't make sense. And at the end of the day, you have a really good chance of accomplishing whatever it is that you set out to do. Pages are good listeners. And so the Page of Pentacles could also pick up on something from the environment by listening. And we see here a resource, so time, energy, money, really good things to be bringing into your life. But this is a time to focus on investing some of that in your own sort of life and not necessarily spending to the point of like the battery going to zero. Make sure that you're recharging, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Let's take a look at the environment now and see what might be tapping out your resources. All right, we have a beautifully auspicious 10 of Wands here in the environment. So what's interesting about this is the emphasis is on the burden or the feeling of pressure. And I have a few things to say about that. So you could be your own sort of source of exhaustion with this. So this is feeling like I have to do it all now, I'm the only one that can do it. So this card is challenging that and saying, is there anywhere where you can delegate? Is there a reason that it has to all be done today or tomorrow? Remembering that the timeline might be more in your control than you think, or you could be able to communicate maybe the advantage of still finishing it, but maybe not all overnight. We don't have to burn ourselves out, okay? This card is an inevitability. You're going to finish what you want to finish, but you don't have to do it overnight. You don't have to do it alone, and you shouldn't be putting maybe so much pressure on yourself. So that's one sort of group of people that are watching. Some of you, this is also just a confirmation that you might be at a point where it's okay to say no to some things. For those of you that are single and taking care of yourself and there's nobody that supports you, this is the burden of sometimes doing that. For those of you that are single parents or taking care of possibly an older parent, caretakers, this card can come through as well. If you're a nurse or a doctor, there could be a lot of pressure on your plate as well. Anybody that's feeling pressure, that's what I'm seeing tapping the energy out. So obviously, delegating is part of it, being kinder to yourself is part of it, and remembering that I'm not really, I can see that you're going to finish what you want to finish, but my question to you as it's been the entire time today is, does it have to be today? Does it have to be tomorrow? Is this just a lack of leadership? Do something that is sustainable. Sustainability and basically quality is what matters most, all right? But other than that, this can also indicate some other things. So now we've talked about the energetic portion. Now let's talk about what's cool about this. First of all, for those of you that asked for something, yes, we got the 10 of Wands coming through. It could be from a distance. There could be new partnership, love, or job coming from a distance. There could be travel in your future. There could be some opportunity for you also to do telework or some travel for work as well. But it's movement. So there's a lot going on around you in the environment. It's not standing still. And part of this may also be just feeling like, you know what, this could be a change for the better. Because some of what was here may not be suiting you as much, but what I see here looks a lot more inviting, okay? I like that quite a bit. And so we see increased resources, we see an end to a cycle, we see someone or something new coming in, you finishing what you started, and you being able to get a little bit more. By the way, so this is bringing us to like the 10 of Pentacles here. So you just have to add one, because this can be a 1 or a 10. So add 1 to this, we've got a 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Swords, 10 of Wands. What comes next? Love and partnership, the 10 of Cups. So we see you making progress on a lot of fronts. It just may be beneath the surface. Not everything is obvious. And that's the next card. So hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have an awakening. So let's look at these 3 cards. This is clarity or inquisitiveness because it's crossing all of this and you're getting clarity on things. This is healing because it's reversed. And this is awakening. You're not going to be in the dark anymore. You have 2 of the blindfold cards. They're either, one is sideways, one is upside down. So looking at things from a different angle and looking through the old barriers, taking the blindfolds off. If we look at this card in the upright position, it can be the feeling like I'm trapped or you're trapped. But when it's reversed, there's usually a door that's opening up or an epiphany or an idea. Or the blindfolds are off and you're like, well, at least I see what's true, and now I see what's possible, and I choose the possibilities, and I'm going to let go of any of these blocks around me. They're not worth my time and energy. So once you take something out of that state of, once you're enlightened, you can't kind of like put it back. So the only thing that I'll say for some of you is maybe you wish you could ignore something, but you can't. It's come up twice. There's almost a karmic lesson with this. This time around, you have to see it, is what I get. You have to deal with it. And once you deal with the fear, then the road opens up to you. So the moon always has a path on it. And usually we have like a dog and a coyote or a dog and a wolf. And so we have people playing different roles and taking on those different parts. If we just look at what does the dog and the sort of wild animal, whether it's a coyote or a wolf, represent, one is instinct, one is following expectations, what you were trained to do. Both of them have an animal nature, and there may be this sort of territorial stuff that's coming through. I like that there's a path in the center here. So when you get past this feeling like we have to compete, then you get back to the path to enlightenment. With the moon card in reverse, it's also saying never second guess your intuition. Don't feel like you have to argue. Honesty is the best path because sometimes the moon can be about things that are not always being said, things that could be happening in the background. Everything is coming out to basically heal you this month. So we have you healing within, whether it's a physical wound or an emotional or spiritual one, it's healing. We have you seeing things for what they are. We have love and support coming back from the past. And really some openings when it comes to resources and movement. So I like everything that I've seen so far. We'll talk a little bit more about this when it comes to health, but if there's anything in your life where you just feel like enough is enough, this card is validating that, whether it's an emotional or a physical pain, it's saying you've got to deal with that as well. All right, so this is really a moment of awakening. Let's expand the forecast and see what Health, Wealth, Love, and Destiny can give us to basically clarify some of these messages. I want to underline one thing here, which is we have empowerment as a central focus this month. So I want some of you to look beyond these cards because I know sometimes they can be triggering. As a tarot reader, I don't mind if we get big cards because it shows where the movement and the work and the healing can be done. All right, with that being said, we're going to expand this now to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to begin with health and well-being, which is super important based on some of these cards that we got. And I'm going to help you out here. So this is the first card that I need to deal with respect to health. As I said before, but I need to repeat it because some of you are just looking at the card itself. This is about healing. It's saying, it's kind of like what the body does. If you touch something hot, or if you like I have a prickly pear cactus out there. I was moving it earlier and I hit one of the needles. I was like, ouch. It's there for a reason, right? The pain tells us don't do that. That's not good. So if there's something that's causing pain or discomfort in your life, it's the universe saying, if you focus on this, I won't have to do this. If you don't, then the universe will come in and make the change anyway. So this is a time to choose healing, to ask for what it is that you need, especially when it comes to that. More of this, less of that, etc. And you have a good chance of receiving that, all right? If there's chronic pain or fatigue, standard disclaimers apply. I am not a doctor. You should talk to a doctor. Pause this reading and take care of it. But ultimately, this is still a card of healing, and you have a good chance of resolving whatever's coming through. This is also about not being afraid. This is a fear-based card, and these are enlightenment cards because they're not exactly upright. There could be a second opinion. There could be a new insight that can come in and help you through whatever you're afraid of. This month, one of the other secondary themes beyond any kind of chronic fatigue would just be, or chronic pain, is overcoming fear. And you do that by asking questions, leaning on those around you, asking for what it is that you need, accepting help when it's offered, moving on, moving up, moving out. And that's what the Ten of Wands is about too. So if you can't get what you need where you're at, this is a move, this is a move, and this is a move for the better. And this is a move that is going to bring you healing and possibly even some abundance. So there's that. Let me see. I think I've hit on everything major here. And if you are not happy with where you live, work, or with whom you're living or working, this is also a call to action. But if we look at what you're worth a lot this month, and you can get a lot of opportunities just by owning that and saying, I can do this. I hope you walk away from today's reading feeling like I'm ready to heal. I know that I can manage whatever change is happening, and I'm not afraid to ask questions or see what's going on. This is going to open the gate, open that Ace of Pentacles that Nicholas saw in his dreams. Okay? By the way, we haven't even looked at the health message, which is freedom. And so in the in the Oracle card here, for health, we have freedom. And a beautiful card at that. And what does she have behind her? The moon. And what did you have in your outcome? The moon. And what are we looking at? The full moon. So let's focus on what's happening between the time that you receive this reading and the next full moon or the next lunar cycle. Look who just joined us, Mr. Apollo. Speaking of the dog that would appear on this, he's back there saying hi to all of you. If he gets up at a later point, I'll pull him up. I know a lot of you ask, but I like to respect his space. So, freedom. If someone in your life is unready or unwilling to give you the freedom that you need to be happy and to be healthy, it may be time to move in a different direction. Loving someone unconditionally is loving them with that freedom to stay or go, and you're not kind of putting all these strings attached to them. It's an important thing to think about in this moment. I think we've covered just about everything for health. Let's take a moment now and move into the energy of wealth. And we have a beautiful card coming through here. It is dance and celebration. And I think for many of you, this is a chance for you to march to the beat of your own drum. For some of you also, permission to celebrate. Because when we look at the cards here, you may be on the rebound. Ten of Swords reversed to the Ten of Wands upright, transitioning through a difficult time, moving on, receiving something better, moving past fears, having enough sort of resources to be independent. Like there could be something really good to celebrate. This is also saying that, especially for those of you that were put in a box, that you get to do it your way and have some fun with it. This is the dance of creation. And this time around, you don't have to apologize for it. You've paid your dues and you get a chance to just basically have some fun. So I like that as well. Let's break this down now and see what's going on for those of you that are at different points of basically development in life. So we're going to look at those of you that might be in school, those of you that are in your careers, those that are retired or unemployed. So if you're a student right now, please take care of yourself. The Ten of Swords and Ten of Wands do show just pressure and stress. So one thing overall, by the way, just even in health, it's just stress management this month, but especially for those of you that are younger and trying to prove a lot, that's coming through pretty loud and clear. If you've just made a major change too, like you changed your major or you just moved somewhere, it takes time to settle. So give yourself, 6 to 8 months. One thing that I remember when I originally moved across country, I was originally born in the Western States, moved to the East when my dad had a job, and then came back here as an adult. When I took the trip back, it was fun to come back to a place that was familiar, but I hadn't been there for decades, or been here for decades. So it took me at least a year, and then I ended up coming to the southern part of the state. I was like, this is better. This is where I should have been. But I stuck around, and I'm like, oh no, I made this move so far. Let's just see where it takes me. So give yourself time, let the dust settle, explore all the options and opportunities, move if you need to. But I would say before you do anything major, give it a little bit of time. Remember, slow and steady for everything. 1 year for major changes to set in, whether it's marriage, school, a move, a loss, all of that time, or all of those things rather, take time. For students, though, again, it could be a change in major, something not being pressured into things, and basically asking for what it is that you need in the realm of support. For those of you in a current job, let's say you're mid-career, what we're seeing here could be a burnout path. Maybe there's a chance to transfer. These two together can be a transfer. I think it's also important to ask for what it is that you need with respect to like title or pay. It could be a little tricky where you're at. Some of you are in a place where there is a major change underway. This can be a merger, a buyout, a sell-off, sometimes even going out of business. There's big changes underway. This can be your own job where you're deciding, I want to go in a different direction. And you can do that. I've done that in my career a couple times at the same company. I was at one company and I think I held 3 or 4 different titles over the 3/4 of a decade because they wanted to keep me there. I wanted to try new things. And usually growth involves risk and change and development. So don't be afraid to reach a little bit. Here's what I see for some of you. You might have made some missteps in the past, but you've learned your lessons. I see new resources incoming. And it isn't about, again, for those of you where maybe it was like that car where there was a mistake, all that matters eventually is that you're able to finish what you started, and the next time you take your time and you learn your lessons, that's it. I think that for some of you, there could be a better environment. I think there's a lot of pressure in some of the places that some of you are living or working, and that would be a thing to focus on, relieving stress-wise. For those of you that are retired, one thing here is sort of like, what's next? It's a question. We can see some travel, and it doesn't mean selling and moving everything. It really comes through as like exploration. You remember, I got the Fool earlier, so I think just travel for the sake of fun, for the sake of exploring could be good. If you are unemployed, don't feel defeated. The universe is also giving you a chance to not necessarily go back and do the same exact type of job. There could be a way to repackage skills in a way that is very marketable, but maybe unexpected, because these two cards show looking at not the obvious. And this is true for everyone. You have opportunities that are opening up and knocking that may not be exactly what you imagined. And, you know, even what I'm doing here, this isn't what I imagined when I went to school. It didn't exist, you know, a couple decades ago. So I'm also very flexible when new opportunities come through. I'm like, oh, I see how and why this happened. I see on some levels I was preparing for this. So just because you didn't imagine it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be something that's perfect all along. All right? Have some fun. Do it your way. March to the beat of your own drum. Let's now move on to love and relationships. This is one that I highlighted a little bit earlier, and it says, I surrender to a power that's greater to me. The card is reversed, meaning that it may be a little bit difficult to go into that energy of surrender, but you have what it takes to make this happen. And maybe for some of you, this is a second chance at love. If you missed a window initially and now the planets have aligned and both you and the other party is available, we have Cupid in the background, maybe this is a second chance for love, and I'm all for that. Let's read this now in 3 different categories. Those in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or happy, single and happy rather. So let's focus on current relationships. I like to read it positively, like the relationship is strong and there's just things around you, and then with maybe like if there's a challenge. So for those that are in a really solid relationship, here's what I see. There could be change for the better. This could actually be a partner getting new money or new job. There could be a move that needs to accompany that job offer, and there's a discussion that has to happen if that's the case. There could also be external stressors. This can be a family member that's taken ill. This could also be loss of property or something of that nature. The key thing that needs to happen here is honest and frank communication, and pretty quickly when that change happens. If you can communicate, you can navigate through anything. That's a good bumper sticker. If you can communicate, you can navigate. If you don't, then it's sort of like The other day there was a power outage here, and for whatever reason, our emergency lights didn't work in the halls, not the halls, but the stairwells. And I was there with Apollo, and it was pitch black. Thank God I had my phone. But I was like, I couldn't find my way. And so you need to at least have that guiding light, and communication is that. Otherwise, it's just like two people stumbling around in the dark, and it's not going to be worth it. You've got to communicate. And someone has to be the lighthouse and shine the light, or the moon, and reflect the truth. Now, for those of you where you're wondering, what are we doing? What's going on here? Well, I think the main thing here is this is usually validation and appreciation, believe it or not, the Two of Swords, saying, I appreciate you, I see you, thank you. There could be a lack of that kind of communication. There could also be a feeling like you guys are kind of stuck in some sort of a cycle, or that you're just not seeing enough of each other. This could be because one partner is remote. This could be a long distance relationship, and you need to bridge the gap a little bit better. What do I see here? A lot of love. This is for those that are really happy in a relationship, and even those that are challenged. It all started with love, and it feels like there's still a lot of desire for one partner's carrying the load, but the other partner may just be shutting down. So I think for those that are in a challenging situation, again, leaning into that communication is key. Money or work could be a big part of this. I see a breakdown with the Ten of Swords. Let's remember that we're not going to point fingers. We're going to try to get to a solution here. Honesty is key. It's honesty and communication that would be the only thing that could break down a loving and long-term relationship. For those of you that are single and looking, I think that the first and most important thing is to make the necessary change or move in your life, to focus on betterment of health, whether it's physical, mental, etc. And once that happens, everything kind of comes into alignment. It feels like the person finds you. I love that there's a little bird on top of this. Listen, there might be a sign or a signal right in front of you that's hard to see because there's so much going on. Could be a Scorpio or a water sign. Feels like it could take the better part of a month for that person to come in, and personal healing is the key. Feels like for those of you that are looking for love, there is either a past life connection or someone from this life, and it didn't work out before, but now things are aligned. Either way, I like this. It looks pretty good, but you have to focus on the healing first and foremost. If you're single and happy, it's kind of the ideal time to be single and happy. I see a lot of great things coming with money here, with the two together making a 10. I see travel and money being the main focus. And for everybody under Pisces, self-care is going to be the most important thing. And when you feel it or when you don't feel it, surrender to the truth of the feeling. That's the other thing. I can't stop the way that I feel. So if you love someone, you love someone. Love yourself, love that person unconditionally, and embrace that love. If the spark is gone, you're either going to try to rekindle it, or if you both tried and it's not there, then you surrender to the truth that you've kind of been through the motions, and it's time to possibly go in a different path. So surrendering to the truth and to the authentic emotion is going to be so helpful and so powerful in this moment that's the key to success, I think. Power dynamics are definitely coming through here. Who's in charge? Emperor, Empress energy with that as well. All right, let's take a look now at your destiny. You've got two cards here, possibly two different paths. The first one is the thin veil. So this card often happens when something transitions out of your life. The fact that you've got both the Tower and also the Ten of Swords represent a new, even the colors in this is amazing, kind of represent that there's a new dawn, a new day. So if you're willing and ready to look beyond what was and embrace what can be and what will be, that's where the power is. Some of you are much more in touch with your intuitive self, and you're starting to connect to the other side, the liminal space that's represented by the thin veil. So open yourself up to being more intuitive. It's a good thing. It can be a little scary at first. That's why the moon comes through. That's why meditation is so important. That's why taking care of your health is so important. The stronger you are physically, the more you are able to handle things intellectually and emotionally. And that's pretty much everything there. Spirit wants to come through this month. That was also the gate. Use lavender when you're meditating, when you're bathing. Bring that sort of sense of calm in your life. And now we have the ocean of emotion. So the healing energy, for many of you, the Ten of Swords is just a chance to have a good laugh, have a good cry, have a good conversation, get this out. It has to find a way to come to the surface. And it says, find a safe place to express your true feelings. Amen to that. And again, if we look at the other one, let go and then let glow. I love that. So both of these are about release and embrace. Releasing what needs to be released, embracing what needs to come in. Beautiful messages. Let's go ahead now and expand this a little deeper into sun, rising, and moon and see what the universe has to say. All right. Sun, rising, and moon. Beginning with sun sign messages, we have the Chariot card in reverse. This is the power dynamics that I was alluding to. So there could be someone else coming in, even the same colors here, and they want to know, are you in charge or am I in charge? There could be someone that is testing your sort of personal boundaries. So if you said no to something, they're going to see if they can put one more thing on there, like the straw that broke the camel's back, or they're going to ask for one more favor. And so one of the most important things for everyone in Pisces sun this month is to basically stand your ground. Also, remember all the different modes of transportation I was talking about. It's important not to get there quickly, but to get there effectively and to do it right the first time. So if someone else is on their chariot or their motorcycle and they're zooming past, did they fill up their tank? Do they have a GPS? Do they know where they're going? Have they changed their tires? Who knows what's going on? In their own life, this can be different things like, are they taking care of their health? Do they have the financial wherewithal to get there? Do they have the emotional strength to keep their cool? There are so many other things that could make you, sort of get there at the same time and maybe finish in an even better way. So it's not a racetrack, basically. This is about getting there when you need to get there, when you're ready to get there, and making sure that you're doing it on your terms. Dancing your own dance, dancing to the beat of your own drum, all of that, okay? So I like that. Control, and for some of you, even a change of direction, because this card came through in the reverse state initially. So making sure that you know where you're going and you're doing what's best for you. All right, let's move on to the rising and ascendant. We have the Ace of Swords in the upright position. This is about taking action, speaking up, doing what you need to do. Love this card, love this energy. And for some of you, this could be opportunity knocking. And I mentioned that there's a lot of movement, a lot of healing, a lot of change. And for those of you that are Pisces rising or ascendant, this is the reward for going through all of that, going through the motions. The importance here is also in not being afraid to get something in writing, to use your communication skills, written, verbal, and also demonstrative to basically get the point across. Overall, I love an Ace of Swords, and it can indicate, again, opening a door as well. So if you need to have the conversation to make something happen, be the one that taps on someone's shoulders and says, hey, have you thought of this? Or I'm interested in this. Be the initiator, and I can't kind of stress it more than when I see it that way. So love that. Good positive movement and changes for you. The Tower is actually changing and opening up. Like one thing has to exit out so something else can come in, and that's what we see with the Ace of Swords. All right, moving on to moon sign messages, we have the King of Pentacles in reverse, more about self-care. The King of Pentacles in the upright position is typically someone who is open, who shares a lot, who has a lot of resources to lend to others. In the reverse state, it can be someone in your life, kind of like we see here, that will just take as much as they can, that you're willing to give them, and you have to kind of say when enough is enough. This is also personal development, so going back to school, getting some training, deciding to take some of your well-earned sort of time, energy, or resources and put them in a direction where you are feeling supported. So if you don't have that support in your life, this is making sure that you can create it or you can get it by basically saying, I've worked hard enough to do this for myself, and you don't need permission from anyone else but you. Okay, we're going to do one last card. It's usually optional. I want to do a reader's choice. I want to clarify the Tower for all of you and the Ten of Swords. These two are right by each other. So what's the opportunity for change and healing this month? So this is a very auspicious card. Again, it's underlining that the changes are for the better here. Eight of Wands shows that there's a lot going on. Look at the race. It's a race again. Here we go. We have like a little squirrel, a rabbit, a deer, birds, all these things trying to get there at once. You don't have to be first. I'm going to say that one more time. You don't have to finish first. All you have to do is finish in a way that feels right for you. You're also a part of a larger group here. I like that we actually see all the people involved in the Eight of Wands. There's a lot of other people that may have similar challenges, stresses, or desires as you. So if you can partner up together, you can get there faster. You don't have to do this all on your own. And just one last note, the fact that this came through in the reverse state is a reminder that it's time to slow down, to be present, and not get lost in the shuffle. All right, let's get into the meditation, folks. Please close your eyes. I'd like you to focus now on laying down in a field of lavender flowers. As far as the eye can see, there's this beautiful field of purple and violet and lavender. And you can also smell that lovely calming scent that accompanies lavender. With your eyes closed, with the sun shining down on you, imagine that this purple light is reflecting in every direction and is also kind of cocooning you with this safety. And there's this safety now to step into something new. The tower can represent expansion. It can represent movement or breakthrough. So focus on what that breakthrough could be for you. Simply breathe and accept that you are going to be able to handle any change, any movement, any opportunity that comes your way. Feel that safety and that security and that grounding continue to grow as you breathe and as you listen to this singing bowl. As you take your next breath or two, I'd like you to feel this sense within your mind, your heart, and your body that you are moving on to a path now that is going to open up more abundance, more security, more of a sense of confidence, and that path is clear. So across this lavender field, there's now an opening. And just beyond this opening, you see something shining, something bright, something beautiful. And now it's just a matter of trusting yourself to get there in exactly the right time. You don't have to rush. That was one of the things that we talked about today. Something beautiful is waiting for you, and you're going to be there in exactly the perfect timing. Focus, if you will, now on the final question that you have for me. Open your eyes. Hold that question in your mind. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what the universe has to say. Nine of Wands. You've got this, folks. This is one card that no matter what you throw its way, it's going to be able to get through it. It's a card of perseverance, focus, and basically prevailing in the end. I love all of the wands represented here by pens and pencils, and it's saying you've done this lifetime and others, like you basically paid your dues. So as a yes, no, this is a yes, and it's saying don't give up. Don't you dare give up. You've got this. And if you need to, what you can do, like I said earlier, is delegate or ask for help or look in a different direction. But whatever you're trying to finish, you can finish. I love the creative aspect to this, so that for those of you that are actually artists or creative people, or you're trying to get something out there in writing or in contract form, this is auspicious. And it shows that there's a little bit more work to do, but it will get finished. So this month, there is a consistent message around completion, around breakthroughs, epiphanies, a clean slate, and not rushing. So I'm just going to underline all of those one more time. Thank you everybody for joining. Do me a favor, if you did like this video, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment below. Let me know what your breakthrough is this month. That type of participation basically tells YouTube that this is a cool video and other people discover it. So a simple thumbs up helps others find it. You can only hit it once, but thank you for those that have already sort of participated. I appreciate it. You can also give me a follow across social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. Unless otherwise indicated, you can see a list of all of these on my website, which is listed below. Remember, I don't offer private readings, so if anybody pretends to be me and offers you one, just report them and know that that is an imposter. You can let me know about it as well. Again, a reminder here that you are your own agent of free will. So I wish you luck on all the changes that you're making. Thank you in advance, by the way, to everybody that participated today and gave back in the way of a super sticker, super chat, or membership. I wouldn't be here without your support and help. And because this is a live premiere, I thanked everybody in real time. But if you happen to be watching later and you just gave back, I want to say thank you for making a difference. Lots of love and light. Remember to tune in every Monday, Thursday, Friday for all of the latest monthly videos, every Sunday for a weekly forecast, and for daily readings as well. Take care. I'll see everybody soon. Have a great month ahead, and thanks for being you. I appreciate it.